The TikTok influencer profiting from anti-trans rhetoric and the double-edged sword of Project 2025. The perpetrator of anti-trans rhetoric on TikTok. Unlike many black LGBTQ influencers who use their platforms to challenge discrimination, Bambino has taken a different path, one that aligns with the very forces oppressing his community. Despite being a black LGBTQ individual himself, Bambino has capitalized on his platform by spreading anti-transgender rhetoric, targeting transgender women and men who seek to change their gender markers on official documents like driver's licenses and birth certificates. This is a contentious issue in states like Arkansas, Texas, and Florida, where legislative moves have already begun undoing the rights of transgender people to legally reflect their gender identities. Bambino, however, is comfortable with these regressions. In fact, Bambino uses his TikTok platform to support these restrictions. His content, which caters to a straight, often homophobic audience, thrives on inflammatory rhetoric against transgender rights. He openly expresses disdain for those who want to change their birth markers or driver's licenses, positioning himself as a critic of the trans community. Bambino frames this opposition as a form of truth-telling, presenting himself as someone who upholds traditional values, even if it comes at the cost of his own marginalized identity. His willingness to profit off the denigration of transgender individuals has garnered him a substantial following, many of whom share his anti-trans sentiment. Project 2025, a double-edged sword. While Bambino's current success may seem secured through this anti-trans rhetoric, Project 2025 could present a paradox for him. This right-wing initiative, which aims to roll back the rights of LGBTQ individuals and enforce more conservative values across American society, may align with some of Bambino's views on transgender rights. However, the same political forces that threaten transgender people's rights will eventually circle back to limit Bambino's own freedom to express himself. Project 2025 envisions stricter content regulations and could make platforms like TikTok far less open to diverse forms of speech. For now, Bambino may find himself benefiting from an environment that is increasingly hostile to trans rights, but the restrictions on free speech that could come with such a political shift might not spare him. As regulations tighten and more conservative ideologies dominate the public discourse, even Bambino's platform could face limitations. He may find that once those in power have succeeded in rolling back the rights of transgender people, other parts of the LGBTQ community, like himself, are next on the list. Moreover, Bambino's reliance on a homophobic audience leaves him vulnerable. By aligning with these anti-trans viewpoints, he may appease his followers, but he's also fostering a space that fundamentally opposes his own existence. If Project 2025 were to succeed in rolling back LGBTQ protections more broadly, Bambino's own rights, safety, and ability to express himself could be targeted, despite his willingness to support anti-trans policies. He may be complicit in the current wave of anti-trans rhetoric, but he too could fall victim to the same structures of repression. The cost of profit-driven prejudice. Bambino's situation underscores the complexities of using one's platform to profit from hate. In promoting anti-trans views, Bambino may continue to grow his audience and financial opportunities in the short term. However, the long-term risks are significant. By choosing to align with conservative rhetoric that seeks to strip rights from transgender individuals, Bambino not only damages his own community but could also inadvertently undermine his own rights and freedom of speech. As Project 2025 gains momentum, Bambino's ability to speak freely, about any subject, could be curtailed. What begins as a rollback on the rights of one group could easily spiral into broader efforts to silence the voices of anyone in the LGBTQ community, including those who, like Bambino, may be using their platforms to spread harmful ideas. In a world where free speech is no longer a given, even the most controversial influencers will find themselves muzzled if they deviate too far from the new political norm. Conclusion: self-destruction in the mega world. In this emerging political landscape, Bambino's actions reveal the dangers of aligning with oppressive ideologies for short-term gain. By supporting anti-trans rhetoric and capitalizing on his homophobic audience, he may believe he's securing his place in the new order. However, the very forces he endorses could turn on him in the future, limiting his own rights and ability to speak freely. Project 2025 poses a significant threat not only to the transgender community that Bambino disparages but also to his own existence as a black LGBTQ individual. Bambino may not see himself as a victim, but in aligning with regressive forces, he risks becoming one of the many who will find themselves without a voice in this mega world that Project 2025 seeks to create.